right. Welcome to Wednesday, August 31st. And this is our Paloma Weekly AMA. And I just want to say it's awesome. This is the last day in the month of August as we end the second month of the second quarter of the year, third quarter of the year. And we are still here. So this is great. So who are we? We are Paloma, and this is the Paloma Weekly AMA. And if you're listening or reading or actually on this Twitter space, you are most likely aware that this Paloma AMA is for the Paloma blockchain protocol called Paloma, and that most likely you are one of our 4,000 pigeons that are listening in. So to all the pigeons, cool, welcome. A funny story, I had somebody DM me today to come work at Paloma, and they said, "Coup, what is coup? I can't figure out what coup is." And he said, "I'm in the Telegram, and oh my God, I think I just got it." So, the special thanks to our community of pigeons who continue to bring the Paloma protocol live. Congratulations on getting this far. We were accidentally again discovered in June. This was not our plan to have so many people on our Telegrams, and we just think it's insane because we were just shipping code. We were not planning on building community. So for all those community members who are here, congrats. A lot of community members left after I said we don't have an incentivized testnet, which is true. We do not have an incentivized testnet. And so everybody who's still here, all the pigeons who are still here are some hardy, resilient, hardcore pigeons. And we hope to reward you for your patience and your efforts. And we hope that the Paloma protocol will reward you. So not me myself, but the Paloma protocol will reward you for your patience and efforts, because you are the true pigeons that are here. You're not here because we tempt you with grains. You're here because you know that this is worth your time and your data center space spend and your effort. To that end, we're going to talk today about what's happening on the network. And I should have a guest with me. I never do things alone because I was born as one of a twin. So where's my co-host? There you are, Bird. I don't know, Bird. That was that a strong coo? Can I hear a strong warbly coo? Coo. There you go. That's right. Bird, did you have your grains this morning? Did you claim your grains reward and did you gobble them up and delegate?
I
All
did.
right.
I claimed my rewards and I just staked them back to me.
Right.
So I feel
This is what
so much.
this is what all good birds do. They claim their grains and they stake them back. All right. Of course, spend grains to improve your data center. So today is August 31st. We want to talk about what we accomplished for last week. Welcome along, Vera. And what's new in our version of Paloma 0.81 and 0.8.1. And so what we'll do is begin talking about the high level of what this upgrade was, and we call this upgrade the marriage. And the marriage, people are being murdered in the other room, so I apologize for the background noise. But welcome to 0.8.1. We call this version the marriage because what we were trying to do was last week and the week before, we had a lot of problems with bringing the network up. So before we talk about what the problems were, let's talk about remind ourselves and contextualize ourselves as what we're doing with the Paloma blockchain. Okay, so in a multi-chain world where every blockchain stands alone, there needs to be someone who can help every chain communicate with every other chain, and who is essentially chain agnostic to token value, to TVL, and to blockchain protocol, and even networking protocol. But we'll say, hey, we can commit to get the message from any particular signed transaction on one chain to another signed transaction on another chain. That's the goal. And so the Paloma view of the world is, we had somebody asked me 2 days ago, what's the difference between Paloma and Layer Zero? What's the difference between Paloma and Axelar? And what's the difference between Paloma and these other tools? And I said, Paloma connects them. Okay, so imagine that you are looking to send a message from Axelar over to Layer Zero. you can go directly between those two. But what if you wanted to coordinate messages between Axelon and layer 0 in an automated way? You would need a third party or a third protocol or third communications layer or relayer or somebody to send the messages, compute state, and organize, right? And so what Paloma aims to do is to say, listen, if you would like to talk to, Ethereum, then Arbitrum, then Optimism, and then back over to Axelar while talking to layer 0, you can do all those things with one particular protocol called Paloma. So, you think it's Paloma trying to achieve a unified communications method between the different chains. We don't know, if we're the best communications method, but what we do know is that we see every other blockchain as essentially a target chain for communications relaying. So we're absolutely, and we're going to do one thing really well. Paloma is not trying to do 20 different things. It's not trying to be a great AMM. It's not trying to be a great bridge. It is not trying to be the greatest of all blockchains. It just wants to be the fastest messenger between any chains. Okay, we're the fastest messenger. What that means, lowest latency. Okay, and what does lowest latency means? It means that a message can get to where it needs to go fastest, and then that message is verified in the fastest possible time, so that then another message can be sent in yet another fast period of time. All right, and how do we measure lowest latency? Well, the way we measure lowest latency is essentially speed to consensus from the pigeons. The faster the pigeons are able to come to consensus and actually process that information, then the faster we can get communications relaying between chains. This is the Paloma desire. This is the Paloma experiment, right? And we're trying to start from humble beginnings, which is why we are really building and molding this blockchain as we go, right? So we are literally releasing the testnets. We've gone to testnet 10 because we've been essentially iterating over a design. We have not released a white paper as yet because we wanted to get the design right and then essentially execute on that design. And then that will emerge of the white paper for what is Paloma. In the same way that, we're trying to explore and same approach that Satoshi did. It's our view that Satoshi wrote his software first and then released his white paper because then he knew what he was writing about, right? As opposed to we'll write it and then build it. We're like saying, hey, what we'll do is we'll build it and then we'll write it so that you know what this thing does. And so right now, Paloma is powered by a lot of brave pigeons, hello pigeons, who have no idea what the end result will be, but have stuck with us to essentially continue to iterate over this. And so this is the Paloma journey so far. We started off, our first code was released in June. We're now ending August, so that's June, July, and August. It's just been 3 months, 90 days that we have essentially come to this point. So we've been moving very, very fast with a very small team. So again, many thanks to the volume team that has been working on Paloma and also bringing it to life. Many thanks to the community and supporters and people who are here. Stay in this nest. If you want to be part of something huge, I encourage you to stay in this nest. You do not have to run a validator to see what's going on. You don't have to spend money to actually be a part of this journey. Stay in this nest and continue to see what we release because we think you will be very, very, very bird-eyed. You'll have a bird-eye view of what's coming and the success of what we're trying to build. All right, so with that context, now that we know why we're here and what we're doing, let's talk a little bit about what we brought in Paloma 0.8.1. Now, we had some problems 2 weeks ago, right? And for those pigeons who are here, thank you for being patient. We had 2 network halts, like major network halts, because we had we fumbled one network halt. The other network halt was because of what we had done with the marriage. So what is the marriage? So 0.8.1 is a marriage between Paloma D, our main node client, and Pigeon, which is, Pigeon D, but Pigeon, our relayer software. So what is Pigeon and Paloma? Well, Paloma is our node action client, which is, our Cosmos SDK node and Tendermint consensus layer. It actually takes in connections with other networks, validates blocks, mints them, and all that other cool jazz, runs our CosmWasm. Pigeon is essentially the messaging relaying software that we've been building. This is what makes Paloma different. So if you look again at other blockchains, we're literally creating a relayer layer, called a relayer layer, of our protocol that is meant to handle message passing, message queuing, and payments. So in the Paloma world, the way we view it is that every validator needs to be a relayer. This is unique to the Cosmos, right? And mostly in the Cosmos, relaying is considered opt-in. you opt in to be a relayer, and therefore maybe you want to do it, maybe you don't. You don't have to be a relayer to be a validator in most of the Cosmos chains that are cross-chain. With us, we've made this a requirement. And so it's a new burden on top of the validators who hate burdens, right? Because validators are like, listen, we just want to get paid. We just want to run software. We don't want to have to do more work, but we've burdened the validators with this requirement in the marriage. This means that even if you are looking to run a Paloma D node, the software will not start unless Pigeon is running. And that was the marriage. The core marriage was that Paloma will not start unless Pigeon is running. And there's a reason why we did this, right? Because the prior weeks, when we made it opt-in, we had the problem of most relayer networks today. If you make the relaying opt-in, most people will not opt in. Most pigeons just were like, whatever, Tarek said to do something, so fine, I'll do it. Oh my God, he's like loud, he's annoying. You don't do it. So as a result, if pigeons, who are the validators, do not relay, then the network cannot deliver on the promise, right? And why can the network not deliver on the promise? Because it cannot come to consensus. So the Paloma network's protocol architecture is designed such that any message that a pigeon sends and says, hey, I sent a message, other pigeons must be able to verify that the message has been sent. We have extended the consensus security model to message passing. I'll say it again. We have extended the consensus model to message passing. So before, when consensus was, hey, I validate a block. Okay, I see some transactions. I order them, whatever. And then I sign this block and say, yes, this block transactions are not false. These have been audited. There's no cheating. That was what traditional blockchains were. That was blockchain from 2009, right? I see a block, I sign a block. Hey, babes. Hey, friends. My block is good. It's good. Good. Hey, I found the nonce. Great. I get a reward. But in the Paloma world, we say, hey, I found a block and I saw some messages. So we're saying I saw some messages. And therefore, consensus cannot be achieved on that message if the other validators in the network do not see it. In order for the other validators in the network to see the message, they must be running a node to the target chain. They must be running a client to the target chain, right? And that client must be reading block transaction activity on the target chain, looking for the same message that a pigeon said, hey, I sent a message, hello world, to Ethereum. Hey, cool. Anybody else see this message? And all the other pigeons have to go check. And so we need 2/3 consensus, because if all the pigeons don't check, then we can't say the message has been sent. And if we can't say the message has been sent, then what good is the blockchain? It is essentially useless, right? And so, and then we might as well just go home, fold our wings and get eaten by an eagle or some other predator. So what we have said with the marriage is that if you are a validator on the Paloma protocol, you will need to run Pigeon. And it was a pain. It pissed a lot of people off. Because, hey, suddenly now Tarek is telling you you have to run it. And here's the thing, right? I'm saying you have to run it, and I'm saying you have to have ETH in your wallet in order to be a validator. So now, first of all, we made it difficult to run a node. Even if you're not validating, you have to run Pigeon, right? Just pain. And then now, in order to be a validator, you have to fund ETH. So we spent 2 weeks prior with a lot of the community saying, this is bullshit. Why are we giving this guy 0.1 ETH? Even Daria, remember Daria? She was like, bro, this is not worth it. You're killing the community. We've been here so long. You're ruffling our feathers. And I agree. I ruffled some feathers. It was intentional, right? Because this is the job. The Pigeon's job is to have gas on the target chain. So we set the requirement to 0.1 ETH. And now we made it a hard requirement to run Paloma D. So if you want to stake, you can't not have ETH in your wallet in order to be a Pigeon. So we raised the bar, made it higher. And as a result, our network has shrunk. We have a lot less validators on the network, right? But I don't think it's because of the ETH requirement. I think it's maybe because people just don't get what we're doing. But that's my fault. I don't say much. But what's happened now is that in the marriage, we have about, I think, how many validators are running? I haven't checked. My computer is slow. Vera, how many validators do we have right now?
We have 18 active
All
validators.
right. We have 18 active validators with funded ETH wallets that are currently selling battle set updates on Ethereum. That is amazing. I'm just gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Cool,
Ooh.
cool. I'm sorry, I'm saying the wrong code word. Cool, cool. I, somebody needs to take my grains. So having 18 validators on the network who are currently funding their ETH wallet with 0.1 ETH is amazing. It's a massive achievement, absolutely massive, because now these people are doing it unincentivized. We're not paying them, right? So this is a milestone and a massive achievement that I think will only grow in size. Now, yes, we're not going to let our pigeons bleed out, right? So currently, part of one of the 0.81 releases is we started to automate refunds to the pigeons. Okay, so yes, no validator will be spending ETH in vain. Currently, we automatically refund every day. Currently, we use Paloma. Well, we use Paloma and ETH, but we're getting there. And our goal is that every day, pigeons will be automatically refunded the gas they spent for sending messages as well as for Valset updates. So the goal of and the vision of Paloma is that anybody who wants to send a message has to pay the validators. They got to pay them, man, and they got to pay them gas, and they got to be able to create a fee market out of that, so that validators can charge their what they expect to be paid. Now, keep this in mind. Here's the cool thing, right? In the old days, as a blockchain miner, you have a fee market and how much you would accept, essentially for fees paid for mining a Bitcoin block. And we have the same thing as gas. Ethereum introduced us to gas for mining or validating, proof of stake block. But here we now have an additional revenue opportunity for validators. What are you going to pay the validators for sending your message? What are you going to pay? And pigeons can refuse to send your message if the fee is not satisfactory. If the fee is not high enough to cover gas and costs, pigeons can say, I see a message. I don't got to take it. I'm going to take the messages with money because I want to get paid. We want to create a market and a business that validators are incentivized to send messages because they get paid. Now, currently, in the Pigeon marriage version, right now, Paloma will fund the val set updates. These are the security heartbeats that we're currently beating out into the Ethereum mainnet. And so every day, those are refunded, and that's a big piece of this upgrade. So no pigeon who joins the network will have to be bleeding out ETH. Secondly, we've reduced the requirement. Before it was 0.1 ETH to start. We've now reduced the requirement to 0.05 ETH. Again, we want to lower the pressure on the validator entry point to say, hey, I want to join. I've had validators DM me saying, well, you know what? We got teams of other people who are professional validators who will come on. They don't want to spend any money. And we're like, that's okay. We get it. But there's now going to be table stakes, right? If you want to join the Paloma network and get paid for sending messages, you got to come with some cash. And 0.05 ETH is the table stakes at ETH mainnet. We don't expect it will go up. We think these things, as we continue to optimize, could become less and less. But right now, if you want to be in the game, 0.05 ETH is the table stakes. Of course, plus your RPC network node, your data center, your VPS costs, etc. Okay, so next up, what else came in Pigeons? Now, one of the things we found out in the weeks prior is that we had a lot of not a lot of good UI around error checking around what was happening. Pigeons were failing, Paloma Ds were going down, and people, validators were like, pigeons were like, cool, 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 angry coos. So what we wanted to do was add some more telemetry, error checking, and verification between Paloma D and Pigeon, so that the marriage was more amicable, right? And there was more love between the two pieces of software. So we updated the config files. We established a dedicated RPC and dedicated an established listening endpoint on port for Paloma D to say, hey, I'm listening on. That was port 557 or 7557. And so now health check messages get sent between Pigeon and Paloma, or mainly health checks on Pigeon, verifying it can talk to Paloma. And of course, Paloma verifying that it's hearing from the Pigeon. And so once that we have that, what we've seen now is we have a stable network. So in this moment, August 31st, Vera, how many Valset messages have we been sending to Ethereum so far?
167,
160,
which
yeah.
is quite a bit compared to last week where we did 235 in
Right?
total for like 7 days. So now we're in
We're in 2 days.
halfway through
Yep,
that.
yep, yep. So already we're at 165 file set updates with full refunds coming into the Pigeons, which means that there is a heartbeat on Ethereum, right? We're saying that Paloma Network has a heartbeat. And again, this is a network that's public. Anybody can use it, right? It's unincentivized. These folks are just here doing this thing. And now the flock is flying in unison. Before, we had some in the flock that, like, yep, I'm not doing this. You know what? I'm zeros. I'm not adding it. Now, every pigeon on this network is fully funded, and every pigeon is essentially contributing signatures into a validator set. So you can think of this as a fully decentralized multi-sig signing network that is now running for 2 days straight without halt. So cool. Congratulations to the validators who are here for this. This is a major milestone, and I think again we're still we should be doing more to share what's going on, and I think we're going to do some more of this as we continue to see stability in the network. But I think a massive opportunity again, and a first in the entire blockchain space. This is not an investor blockchain, right? There are no investor nodes in the testnet. Okay, there are no, Shorebird Poop 2, is a shitty validator, but all the majority of other validators are self-directed, running on their own hardware, their own network. Super cool to see that the RPC queries, like we had a poll today, what RPC endpoints people are using. Most people are using Alchemy, so we got to talk to the Alchemy people. They got to come help us out here. Infura, no love for the quick nodes. What's up with that? But there are a lot of other nodes people are using. So I just want to say, very, very cool to see folks sharing their RPC endpoints. And this is going to be the game, right? Our plan is that Ethereum, what we did as the highest bar, every other bar is going to be lower because Ethereum is expensive. We have the merge coming to proof of stake with Beacon Chain. There's a lot of problems. If we can solve for Ethereum, then we can solve for others. And so we want to, I think the next phase of where we're going is making sure that we can, again, I think, tackle the first problem, which is making sure validators are not being bled out, like, for their essentially gas fees that they put up, as in service of this network.
Just to add to that, Tarek, I think because we had a meeting yesterday with another partner, and we were kind of surprised when we said, like, no, this is our testnet, but we're connecting to other mainnet chains, which is, you might call it unusual, but I think it's been really great for us to see the actual issues that we would see once Paloma goes mainnet.
Correct.
So we don't play around.
That's right.
We want to see the real deal right away,
Yeah.
and like how we refund the pigeons.
That's right.
Those kind of things.
Yeah, and even
have been a lot of learnings.
Yeah, and even possible attacks, right? So, running stuff on Ropsten testnet is great, but it doesn't, the pain of the cost of everybody saying, hey, this is hurting me, you don't hear it. Having people complain in the Telegram, which is why we only use Telegram for now. Having them complain about what's expensive, what's not working is key to us being able to upgrade the system quickly, and know that when we go mainnet, we know what to expect will happen, and that the surface area of surprises will be smaller. We're not going to have a large surface area of disappointments and surprises to have to pull through. Okay, so we deploy contracts. Also, we laid an egg. Cool. We laid an egg last night. Last night was the first egg laid on the Paloma network, which means that it was the first time we. First of all, we laid an egg on the Cosmos side, or we laid an egg on the Ethereum side. Which side did we lay the egg on, Vera? We didn't lay the egg.
Yeah, I guess like it had happened on the Cosmos side. We didn't have the communication with the Ethereum side, so we weren't able to send the message.
All right, good. So we are now testing. So if you want to know what we're doing, what's really exciting about 0.8.1 is now that we have val set updates, now that we have a flock flying in unison, it's time to fucking send messages. It's time to send messages. And so we are starting to send messages. And of course, what do birds do? They lay eggs. And we are testing the laying of eggs from Paloma on Ethereum. And I think we're working through some debugging now that we have a stable mainnet Ethereum network, broadcast the Ethereum mainnet. We now want to test the ability to send messages. So we're going to be sending those messages and updating the flock on how we're progressing. In terms of updates, we're going to take a break. This week we will not have next week. this week, Thursday, we will not have a new release. So because we've been powering releases every week, literally for the last 3 months, we're going to take a break for this week. And also next week, we will not have a release. So we're going to have 2 weeks of pauses on releases. But the week after, we will be restarting releases again on Ethereum on our mainnet, so we can move to Paloma testnet 11. We have more coming, right? This entire issue of validator gas fee market is a big one. We want to tackle it. There's lots of stuff that we still need to go on the testnet before we're ready for mainnet. We're not ready for mainnet as yet. It's a lot more that we have to journey through to bring this network to be, hey, now it's ready to go. Okay, Vera, did I miss anything else so far on what we have in this new version, or any experiences or things that we learned that we should share?
No, I think you covered it all.
All right, cool. I think one of the things also I want to bring up is our upgrade process. We've been very much a little bit slap happy with upgrade processes because we're moving very, very fast. And we wanted to release new code as soon as we had paid attention to new features. I think what our last, we broke 0.80 broke to 0.70 broke to 0.80 because we had a problem with a fault with our Cosmovisor upgrade process. I think going forward, we're going to be pushing all upgrades through governance on TestNEST. So we continue to encourage folks to leverage Cosmovisor as a workflow for automated upgrades. Cosmovisor needs work. It needed work for us. And I think one of the things we learned is that it can cause problems if not set up properly. And so what we're looking to do is say, hey, we might need to sort of, again, narrow down to a very much consistent proposal upgrade for new version, Cosmovisor, encourage everybody, block height halt, all upgrades, essentially either happen automatically or with a replacement of new binary, and the network is off to the races. We're going to continue to make breaking changes. So yes, we will require full upgrades on the system. We think breaking changes are an aggressive way to get new features out without having to worry about backwards compatibility. And we are in a testnet. So we're going to break as much things as possible so that we can make sure the system is resilient. Thank you to everybody who's listened up to this point. Thank you to all the pigeons in the flock. We are super excited. The first permissionless network to send messages between the Cosmos and Ethereum is looking to send more messages and add more networks in the coming weeks. If you are in our testnet, thank you for being here. Thank you for grinding away. Thank you for helping everybody who's helped other pigeons. That's awesome work. Please keep your Ethereum private keys. These are important because the people who pay gas and the people who've supported the network, it's their proof of work. It will be obvious when it comes to future distributions that these are the wallets that needs to be rewarded for the efforts in making the network whole and resilient. So let's keep it up, and we will see you next week as we continue to lay eggs all across Ethereum. Thank you. Thank you, Vera.